everybody, and welcome to another Makaton for HCP videos. We've got a friend here who would like to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is L-I-Z, Liz.
And Liz and I are going to look at some new signs today, but we're also going to talk a little bit about what Makaton is. But just before we get into that, Liz Bayley is a specialist physiotherapist. I'll let Liz talk about herself a little bit. You may know Liz and I from our Twitter interactions around our Therapy Live turf war, which I won. We're not going to give you a chance to speak on that one. And well, you know, this whole thing around Makaton for HCPs is around trying to improve understanding for mainstream practitioners. So Liz, you go away. You know, feel free to run free with, you know, tell us about yourself and people who don't know who you are, what you're about.
Okay, so yeah, so as Alice said, my name is Liz, which I've just learned how to sign. I'm very proud of that. So my name, I am a physio, but I used to be a professional dancer for 15 years or so. So I've now been a physio for about 5 or 6 years, and I did a bit of general physio when I first qualified, but I now work with dancers. I used to work with dancers as a sports therapist. So I've worked with dancers for about 12 years, I think, 11 or 12 years clinically. And I'm mainly found in the West End, so I'm currently the physio on The Lion King in London, which I'm going to go to in about half an hour. So
That's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Liz. And you know, one of the questions when we were trying to set this meeting up was you were asking us, so essentially, you know, what is Makaton and what is that all about? So should we touch on that first before we get any further?
I wasn't very familiar with it until you talked to me about doing this today.
Perfect. So Makaton is a type of sign language that is a type that's known as sign supported English. So it differs from something like British Sign Language, BSL, in which BSL is a language in of itself with grammatical subtleties, even regional accents within the signs, but is a whole replacement for spoken word. So all the subtle nuances of a sentence and all the preface and the context and how you set structure a sentence together is centered and is represented within BSL. Whereas Makaton, you would use Makaton to back up understanding. So the idea is with Makaton, you would still be speaking to the person in an adapted way that they could understand, but you use Makaton to back up that side. Now, we all use Makaton. We don't necessarily know it, but when you're saying, I'm going to go and get a drink and it's in a noisy environment, you go, want a drink? And that is the Makaton sign for drink. So there's a lot of the Makaton signs that actually are you can definitely see where the sign has come from, and you can see how it's there to try and embed and support somebody's understanding.
Well, it's almost like a more official way of making your body language a bit more explicit to help explain what you're saying.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, to an extent. And it doesn't replace spoken word, whereas BSL is there to replace spoken word. Makaton is there to back up spoken word and to assist understanding. There's a great video that was done by a speech and language therapy team that I used to work with in Notts in the NHS, and I cannot find it for the life of me. It's a great demonstration of a gentleman speaking in Dutch and then saying the same thing in Dutch with Makaton symbol signing, and even people who don't know Makaton pick out a heck of a lot more of what he's saying because of the signage. That a lot of it is inherently quite obvious. So to eat would be, you know, eat. Yeah. Dinner, you replicate like a knife and fork in your mouth. So there are some that are a little bit more more specialist and specific, but we'll talk about those a little bit. One of my favorite ones and one of the best ones to use is going to the toilet, which is sort of there, or you can do it on this side, toilet.
Why is it that?
I'm not sure, but it's fantastic when you're out and about in a noisy environment and you want to speak to the people that you're with, that you're just going to the toilet without announcing it to the entire world. I did
that one.
Me and my brother John, we used to use that a lot within our communication as brothers. And we once went on a coach. John was going to a Special Olympics event, and I got on a coach of 70 people that had just come down from Leeds, and I went, John, just before you go, do you want to go to the toilet? And I'm used to John just understanding what's going on. However, this was a coach of 70 people, the majority of whom knew Makaton and understood. So John was like, yeah, I'll go to the toilet. Somebody went, I need the toilet, and it was very weird to be in an environment where so many people understood what was being communicated just from some signs, but it was fabulous. So that's kind of what Makaton is. That's why it's around. It's around to support the understanding of people with learning disabilities, but you wouldn't use it to replace a language. Another difference is that you would sign the key words in a sentence. So if you might just say, I'm just going to go to the shops, which is quite a lot of a way of saying go shops.
Yeah.
So with the Makaton, you'd probably just sign the signs for go and shop, or I go shop. So it would be I go, pointing away, and then shop would normally be something related to spending money. So money and then a place.
Oh, okay.
So shop. So there's lots of things how you would set the context of a situation. So we did the ones around the meetings. We were talking about football, and the sport of football would be that. But so just kicking a ball with your index finger.
Oh, got you.
And so within football, if you were talking about the sport of football, you just use the sign. But if you were talking about object of a ball, you just talk about the object of relation to the actual sport. Same with basketball, as we did with Adam. Basketball is bounce the ball, shoot a hoop. But if you were talking about the ball, it would be basketball. So basketball, yeah.
I knew it as you were going to say it.
And it's intuitive, isn't it? Once you get those sort of understandings, you can see how you build words and sentences around it.
Yeah.
So today we're going to look at some signs. The first sign we're going to look at is obviously dance. So to dance would just be getting your grooves on, and we're just saying we like to go and dance. So yeah, again, quite intuitive. If you were to make up a sign for dance, you'd probably do something along those lines.
Yeah, it'd definitely be something like that, wouldn't it?
Yep. So we say, and at the same time, you'd be saying to dance.
Mm-hmm.
There are some varying signs, and some people are going to love this one. So there's a sign for ballet.
Is it that?
So it's you're going to say it's a specific move, but it's a hand here and a hand on top.
Oh, okay. Hang on, let me just.
Come on, Liz, show us how it's done.
Yeah, hang on.
Yep. So that would be ballet.
Hang on, that.
Perfect. That would be ballet.
That's fourth position for anyone who's interested.
I mean, I knew that, but I was just giving you the chance to demonstrate. Yeah.
Okay, so fourth position.
Fourth position is the Makaton sign for ballet. And then if you were going to talk about a teacher, so any form of teacher is normally teacher. So it's speaking with two syllables, teacher. And if you were to say you were, teacher. And again, with these, you wouldn't just do the sign. You wouldn't just go, you would go teacher. So use it to back up what's being said. And then Liz, could you guess the sign based on that information about the sign for ballet teacher?
Oh, okay. Let me just. Okay, so it's going to be ballet teacher.
Perfect. There you go. Absolutely nailed it. And this isn't even rehearsed. This is impressive. But you can see the intuitive nature of Makaton when you understand the component parts. The second one I'm going to talk about is tap. So tap dance. And tap is, replicating the signs for tap. So tap.
Is that it? Tap.
That would be tap to tap dance.
Tap dance. Okay.
Yep. And then there is one more. We're going to keep these fairly short, but the other one would be shoes. So if you were talking about a specific type of shoe, and you replicate putting on a shoe on your hand as though it's a foot. So shoe.
Okay. So you could have a ballet shoe.
Oh yes, you're ahead of me.
Tap shoe.
Oh, Liz, you are amazing. This is fabulous. This is fabulous.
Very quick learner.
Well, guys, we're going to keep it short and sweet, but that's sort of the basis of Makaton. Those are some Makaton symbols that you can use. If you've got anybody that engages with dancing, there are a lot of people with learning disabilities who love music and for whom dance is a real part of expression and themselves and music. And so it's really, really common interest. Yeah. But we understand that building communication and understanding and building rapport with people comes on commonalities and shared interests. And so these are some ways that you can communicate these with the people with whom you're working.
Yeah. So
Liz, thank you very much for your time, and we will see you all again.
Thank you. Or how do I say for having me? Thank you for.
Oh, thank you for meeting. Will be good.
There you go. Thank you for meeting to talk about ballet, teachers, and shoes.
Perfect. And it's been fantastic to watch you learn. So you take the information, put it in your head to learn something.
I've learnt a lot. I don't know.
Thank you very much, Liz, and we'll see you all again. Bye.